Good evening. This is Latasha Bell, and I will be discussing obesity. The introduction to obesity. Obesity has become one of the largest concerns and epidemics, not only in the United States, but all over the world. In the last 30 years, obesity has grown at a chronic rate. So, what is obesity, or how can obesity be determined? Obesity is broken into two parts based on your gender. For a female, if your body fat is 35% of your height, you are considered obese. In a man, it is described as 25% of the body height. This is calculated by the body mass index, or the BMI, by dividing the weight in kilograms by the height in meters squared. You can see the equations to the right. It gives a detail of how the equations are worked out. In recent studies, it has been indicated that 33% of men and 35% of women in the United States are obese. 53% of the of the African American population are overweight. 51% of the Mexican American population are overweight. Life expectancy is cut anywhere from 5 years to 20 years when you are overweight. And the side effects of being obese. A person that is obese is suffering from more than just weight gain. They are suffering from cardiovascular diseases, respiratory complications, depression, cancers, diabetes, and anxiety disorders. Not to say that obese people are suffering from all of these things at the same time, but most of these illnesses accompany obesity. Balancing act. Understanding how your body uses fat and what you can do to help. Fat is not bad. Actually, fat is good and is used for a positive purpose. Fat is the fuel for your body, like gas is energy for a car. And the more you use it, the more you use your body, the more gas you burn, which is the same effect for your body and the fat that it takes in. There are three different basic, everyday fat burning ways. The basal metabolic rate uses up to 60% of the intake of energy. This is your core bodily function. This regulates your temperature and your heart rate. The thermic effect is the digestion of food. It is 10% of your energy usage. The thermogeneous activity is energy that you use during basic activities, as far as walking around, and even your exercise, whether you exercise daily or throughout the week. This is when you will burn the most fat. And that is anywhere between 5 and 30% of your energy usage. And this is one day. In this chart, you will see how or where fat is stored. They are stored in fat reservoirs within these lipocytes. And the way to describe this is when energy intake, which is fat, exceeds expended energy, which is the energy you use, is when people begin to gain weight. So if you're not burning that 30% in exercise or your basic bodily functions, you are not burning off the necessary fat that you need to be in a healthy state. Burden on your body of proof for children and adults. This cartoon is a reverse of what typically happens with obese children. Many times, anxiety and depression are formed by prejudices and discrimination of being overweight adults and children. So these children are making fun of him for being smaller. But if you have time to zoom in on the captions, you will see the concerning statements that are being made. Influence of childhood obesity. In a recent article by Forchett in 2015 indicated that the influence of unhealthy options are being broadcast within children's television programs. And this has a great impact on children and what they're choosing to eat or what they find popular to eat. Also, within this article, Frechette describes how it is the responsibility of the government to regulate children being subjected to such negative influence, such as unhealthy products. And this is not, again, not just an epidemic happening in the United States, but this has become a global issue. In this chart, it highlights the issues that accompany being obese within a child. And in this chart, it also identifies the issues that affect an adult. Some of these are parallel effects. So a lot of the information that is given is based on not only just children, but adults as well. Some of the inner challenges of being obese in a child or adult is the changes that the body undergoes. Physically, the body is beginning to slow down because it is not able to handle all of the weight that it has started to gain. The heart and the lungs are working harder to produce blood and oxygen flow, which causes cardiovascular diseases and respiratory complications. Hypertension and high blood pressure are also some risky indicators of internal complication or internal challenges that are happening. And it's always the mental changes that occur in not only children but adults as well to be a part of social groups. Parental concerns for obesity. In a study by Moore, Harris, and Braitland, they identified how parents are concerned with their child's well-being and health issues when dealing with obesity and overweight children. But what's also concerning is that this was a more prevalent issue for the females in the family who were perceived as being overweight and obese. Not to say that they did not show concern for males, the issue was just more pressed for females in this group. Genetics and environment. So the next few slides will talk about indicators of challenges within the environment as well as genetically and other internal issues. So in a study conducted by Goldling et al., they found that children who were obese had a tendency to be missing minerals within the bones, which causes the bones to easily break. This study was not a generalized study, and it did not use varied ethnic groups. So we're going to take this as what it is, um, as this population of children that was utilized. Also, in a study by Nelson, Brandon, Wiggins, and Whitfield, they did a study on twins, same-sex twins, and found that it did not matter the environment, the environment played a smaller, less vital role in obesity than the genetics. So, with that being said, genetics was a very high indicator of obesity, even in twins. Food deserts versus food oasis. So, food desert is described as a supermarket or a grocery store that is more than 2 miles away in any direction. In a recent study by Howlett, Davis, and Burden, they discovered the socioeconomic disparities in neighborhoods that were experiencing food deserts, in which people would have to walk more than 2 miles for appropriate or proper nutrients of food like fresh vegetables and fruit. In these areas, a lot of the parents and children are utilizing convenience stores, which do not offer the same options of fresh fruit and vegetables, yet they are offered high sugary, high salt content chips, pop, juice, and other candies. And then the financial burden. It is estimated that it takes approximately $14 billion to tackle the burden of obesity. And this is for hospital visits and stays for children only. This statistic was only brought about for children, not including the adults. But what's also concerning is many employers are reluctant to hire individuals that were significantly overweight due to possible absenteeism, increased insurance coverages due to weight health conditions. Interventions. So how can we help? A family affair. During the study by Nelson, Harris, and Braidland, it was found that parents wanted to make changes with their child's health and realized that changing their family's health helped change the one child's health. As a result of the family food dynamic changed, allowed for a greater success for the child. The family togetherness and bonding is also created through physical activities, and a healthy diet together increases success in weight loss. So, with all of that being said, if people change as a family, the individual who is struggling with their weight will not feel isolated and will look at it as a family function and a family change rather than just an individual change. In conclusion, whereas many people may look at obesity as a lack of self-control, the psychological effects of obesity takes on so much more. With reports of media influence and the perception of what beauty is, obese adults and children are on the edge of continued self-destruction. There are currently no laws against discrimination of overweight people because it does not meet the characteristics of discrimination of gender, ethnicity, or religious beliefs. Such emphasis is placed on females in society. Many male children do not receive the same urgency of concern when parents are concerned with obesity. In a study that was identified by Moore, Harris, and Braidland, in which they indicated that the perception of Western society that places such a large concern on female imaging. Family is a wave of intervention. Eating together, playing together, setting goals together have been founded in the success of weight loss, whether it's for child, for a child or an adult. Socioeconomic